I really need you to understand how severe some of the things are in this video.
Now, how old is you anyway?
13.
You 13, okay.
And they cut out all the parts where I said, is disgusting. And they put it together and it made it seem like I was, talking about how it's normal. So gross. I would never say that.
I had to go over the hill and through the woods and cross a fire tornado mountain. And then I had to fight a dragon, and literally Dennis Rodman, Donald Trump Jr. were there. It was so crazy, bro.
They're not going to be identical because there's two different dads, but wow, drama.
But then it always scares me because I'm like, if somebody stole my computer, you know how much blackmail they would have on me?
Okay, ready? All right, 3, 2...
It's crazy. And I'm already starting to get some type of way I need to calm down. Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hard Light Network. Today, we're going to be discussing Shane Dawson and Rylan Adams' surrogate pregnancy. Big topic of discussion today, guys. Lots of stuff that we're going to get into and cover. Emotions are high around this subject, and I'm going to let you guys know up front, this is a bit of a controversial subject. We're going to get into the details, but I want you to know up front, a lot of things are being said online. There's a lot of different takes flying around, and a lot of people are co-opting this controversy to sort of get their own opinion out there and sneak in some of their personal biases past the door. I'm not here to do that today. I want to talk about this subject because I feel like there's a very serious issue with the people that we're going to be talking about today. I don't know any other way to discuss this without it being somewhat offensive to somebody, and I do apologize for that, but I want to cover this in a way that's respectful to the people involved, but also giving you guys my real uncut opinion. So that being said, this is my third time trying to film this, guys, and it's already been so difficult, but we're going to get right into it. We're going to cover it from the very beginning. So it all started back a few days ago on December 10th when Drama Alert put out this post. It shows this picture of Shane Dawson with Rylan Adams at the hospital, okay? So it says, YouTuber Shane Dawson and Rylan Adams with their new twin boys via surrogate. Congrats. So it's a congratulatory post. This is the first post I saw. I saw this like within 36 minutes of it being posted the first time. So pretty on top of it. And it's really blowing up. A lot of people are talking about it. This is them in the hospital, and these are two twins. Now, the twins are twins in truth. They were born at the same time from the same mom. So there's a little bit of a technological advancement that was made in the field of surrogacy that allows this to happen. Used to be before, if you wanted to have twins, it was pretty much impossible, but now they've advanced the tech and they've got it to where people can surrogate twins now, and for better or worse, this is where the technology is. So they took advantage of that, and now they're in a situation where they have two twin boys that are under their care. And the internet has been reacting to that nonstop. Drama Alert posted a follow-up post saying Shane Dawson is canceled for his new twins. He is facing homophobic comments as well as criticism over his ability to parent. Do they deserve this criticism? Now, that is really the question at hand here for this entire video, guys. I mean, if you can check out some of these comments, somebody brought up the cat thing. Other people, somebody said definition of child trafficking. One guy said they should be arrested for kidnapping. So, lots of stuff being said, lots of ties into this inappropriate behavior around kids and stuff. What I wanted to talk about is sort of this, the misconceptions that are going along here. We're going to talk about Shane's stuff specifically. Then we're going to talk about surrogacy kind of in general. First and foremost, my biggest issue with this is who the subject of our conversation is about. I do have some qualms with surrogacy, and there's going to be no way around that, guys. I'm going to let you guys know up front, I am opposed to it in general, but that's because of some of the information I'm going to show you guys later on. So even if you disagree with me, even if you're pro-surrogacy, if you stay to the end and you can see my opinion on why I'm against surrogacy, I think, I have some information that might be, important for you guys. So We're going to keep on. We're going to look at some of the backlash that he's gotten. Lots of people are really upset. This person says, disgusted, doesn't even begin to describe how I feel right now. And they show the same photo of them at the hospital. They've covered the baby's faces. And they've done another one that was a skin-to-skin pose, this top image here. This is not like a breastfeeding picture. A lot of people are freaking out, thinking this is like a breastfeeding photo. It's not. This is a skin-to-skin contact. Somebody showed the full image elsewhere, so there's no latching on the nipple. There's no breastfeeding taking place. So, but it's understandable why people would feel that way because, there's been some jokes in Shane's past where he's talked about it, especially in regards to the surrogacy with the baby. He has brought up getting breast pumps and all this sort of stuff, making jokes around trying them out and stuff like that. And it just goes to underscore how inappropriate and weird he is and his mindset is around this situation.
Okay, so these are the equipment must-haves, the furniture must-haves, the clothing must-haves, the equipment nice to have, the furniture nice to have, and the clothing nice to have. And then my list in my head of everything we need!
And as we watch videos, as I talk to other people that are parents, I also have like a running list in my phone of like recommended brands that come up or products or things.
It says we need a variety of nipples. I have both. Both my nipples do not match. Is that what they mean? A variety of nipples. Oh, for the bottles. Diapers, we already have those. A car window
We
shade.
don't have those. We have a box of 12.
A breast pump. Okay, I know it's not something we need, but it's something I want to try.
Oh my gosh.
Come here. Get over here. Give me a hug. Breastfeed. Take a sip. Take a sip. Take a sip. So much milk. Actually, I'm sure there's more milk over there. Can you please breastfeed with Shauna, please? That would.
Another person said, this is Matt, who says, I actively dislike Shane Dawson, but we all damn well know that a lot of people are using the birth of his surrogate sons as an, ew, two guys having babies, something weird is going on here. In the most thinly veiled homophobia, gay men are pedophiles ever. It's obvious. Now that's his take, and I'm not going to deny that that's happening. I'm not going to pretend like I know the minds of all these other people. I'm absolutely certain that there are people out here who are just have an issue with Shane being gay, who are, using this and as an opportunity. This happens with any sort of issue, but there are other people that have pointed out that this has nothing to do with Shane's homosexuality. This has everything to do with, like the Publica says, YouTuber Shane Dawson has sparked outrage after announcing his purchase of 2 infant boys via surrogacy. Some are noting Dawson's long history of sexualizing children, including an incident in which he joked about naked babies being sexy. So that's a situation that did take place. I'm going to show you guys the clip of that to confirm it later on. But, this is not about, as Matt says, this is not about Shane and Rylan being gay and having twins. The major issue that's going on here, the major issue that people have raised is the character of Shane Dawson and by extension his husband Rylan Adams, because this is a person that is, all in with the relationship. This is a person that has defended Shane's behavior. This is a person that has made excuses for Shane in the past. So Rylan is complicit in everything that Shane has done or said because of the continued support. There is no way around it. Rylan is not innocent in this, and a lot of this is falling on Shane. That's the crazy thing about this, is that this is a team here. These 2 guys are working together on this, and both of them have huge faults. Another person says, Evie Magazine says, just a reminder that Shane Dawson called a 6-year-old sexy, pretended to masturbate to a photo of an 11-year-old, and attempted to defend pedophilia as a fetish. And now he has 2 twin boys via surrogate. That's an important take. That this is not a thinly veiled attempt at homophobia. This is a recall of a situation that did happen publicly, that Shane has acknowledged happened publicly. And I'm going to show you guys the evidence of that. So this right here, Shane pretending to a photo of an 11-year-old girl. That's literally, I'm going to show you guys a clip.
Oh, God. Oh, I'll whip your hair back and forth. Oh.
As a kid, I didn't realize it was so offensive, but I definitely knew it wasn't funny. So now him and his boyfriend or whatever are now having twins of a surrogate pregnancy. Yep, prepare to cringe, you guys.
Almost to the finish line of getting knocked up.
If you are going to rent a womb, a surrogate mother, a woman who you are not, having children, which you cannot, referencing her as being knocked up, done. They can't even produce a child, right? If I end up with a man, I'd like to have a child. But if I end up with a woman, I'm going to adopt a kid. Because there are children that need homes. Instead, you're going to, quote unquote, knock up a healthy young woman. I think it's all fucked up. I think it's particularly fucked up putting it in the hands of these two. Because I know Shane Dawson is an extremely fucked up individual. I've known him since the beginning. I've been following him on the internet for like 10 years, 15 years now. And he's been fucked up since the beginning. He should not be a father.
If what you just saw wasn't evidence enough, there's definitely more. Shane has gone over the line numerous times. This isn't a situation where Shane made a joke in bad taste at one point in the past and has now moved on and done something better. This is a repeated pattern. This is a definable pattern that Shane has exhibited over the course of his YouTube history. This is not isolated to one era of his YouTube content, as he likes to do. He likes to say that this was his old sense of humor. This was edgy jokes that he used to build an audience, right? That he says that he doesn't like that. He shouldn't have ever done that. He regrets doing it. But if you watch his newer content, even past content where he's hanging out with Jeffree Star, that's a big piece of the puzzle here. If you start looking at content that's even newer, just within the last few years, Shane has been repeatedly inappropriate around children, in the context of children. He's been hypersexualized. And it's not just these little skits that they keep showing old images of and old videos of. This is a continued pattern of inappropriate behavior.
It's been a minute.
Bestiality?
So I guess I could see that. But, like, if another dog was f***ing my dog, like I said, I think that was cute. I don't know. If I had a child, which is the same as a dog to me, well, I guess when they're a baby, you don't want to picture somebody.
No, someone did that though. Did you hear that
What?
news story? Some guy killed a baby because he raped her and like a 4-month-old baby, and the baby died.
Fuck.
Isn't that disgusting and amazing?
Where did you read that?
It was on the news.
Amazing.
It was like, meaning like, what the fuck? Like, who are you? Are you kidding?
That's insane.
Baby?
What does that even mean? So did it die because the dick went through its head?
I honestly did not research super hard because I was like, this makes me really uncomfortable, but that's what I assume.
He's gotten away with it up until this point. He's been repeatedly brought up in the public zeitgeist and has always managed to skate by making some sort of like faux outrage statement, but it has never changed his behavior. This is another clip here. This is from a deleted podcast of Shane and Friends. And there's a reason why all of these clips are deleted. These have been circulating out on the internet for a while, like I said. And this clip right here is especially particular because Shane actually gives a justification for pedophilia in this. So again, back to Matt's previous statement about the thinly veiled homophobia, not saying there aren't people doing that, but I could tell you honestly that this is Shane himself. This is not people misrepresenting him. This is words from his own mouth. So this is how Shane justifies pedophilia.
What is Kim Kardashian? Is she half black?
No, she's Armenian.
No. Is she what Rebecca Black is? They look similar.
I don't think we were asked
Rebecca Black has
what
made
she
a
is.
little less of a sex tape. She hasn't had sex with as many black guys. She did probably with that guy in that
She's
band.
15. Stop it.
She's growing up. She's almost
She's
16.
not.
She told us, when I asked her, I said, how old are you? She said 15. I said, that's so young. She's like, I'm almost 16. As if when she turned 16, we could talk about dicks to her.
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
Well, I have an UGG.
Oh, okay.
Now, this is an UGG that I just realized a few days ago. I was with Lisa, and we ran into a child. I'm not going to say why or how, but we ran into a child.
Like in your, wait, hold on. In your
With my car, I hit
like,
the
it
child.
Okay.
It was dying on the side of the road,
Okay,
and I
great.
said, oh, I should probably ask what its name is.
Uh-huh.
No, but this child was probably 6 years old, and I was taking a picture of something, and the kid turns to me and goes, oh, are you Instagramming? And first of all, how does a 5-year-old, 6-year-old know what Instagram is?
Right.
Which is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I was embarrassed because, yes, I was, and it was a picture of my salad.
So that's where, just a quick note right here. That's where Shane draws the line. He's scared when children are aware of Instagram. When a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old is aware of Instagram, That's already a problem for Shane. Not this image that's literally on his Wikipedia right here of a clearly underage fan. Shane Dawson is my daddy. That's not a problem. That's not scary. Kissing them on the mouth is not scary.
Shane seemed somewhat bewildered by the young fans that would sexualize him. He'd even said, rather crudely, in videos that he had young children coming up to him, calling him daddy and requesting sexual activity. I think it was a combination of his insecurities, immaturity, and wanting his fans to like him that stopped him from blatantly saying, "Child, stop being gross," and "Where are your parents, Jesus?" So next we're going to address Shane kissing underage fans. Take a look at this next clip and you will see Shane kissing an underage fan on the cheek. This is something that he admits doing often at meet and greets.
Question, I'm not sure if this is legal, but yeah, is it okay if like get a kiss on the cheek?
Oh, of course.
Do it! Did your camera that guys? Pull back your hair. Try pull back your hair. Hold on. Ready? Let's just do it slowly, Jenny. I don't want to wait anymore. It's hot. I'm done cooking.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Now, how did you feel after watching that video? Did you think it was gross? Did you think it was innocent? Did you think it was or wasn't proof of Shane being predatory? Think about it and remember it. Now, in this next clip, Shane is kissing an underage girl on the cheek. But if you listen closely, you'll see that the mother is actually telling him to do so and telling him to kiss her again because she's not getting a good picture.
Oh my god.
That's your telephone.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
She's literally your biggest fan.
I'm your biggest fan. Does that make sense?
I have something cute.
Yes. If for a picture for like real life.
Well. Oh.
Wait, do it again because your hair.
Okay. Sorry.
Not you. It's Shane's hair.
Okay. Wait. An actual.
That was great. That one was great.
So how do you feel now? To be exact, do you still feel that it was completely Shane's fault? Or do you think the parents are partially to blame? Now in this next clip, you will see Shane actually kiss an underage fan on the lips.
Okay, ready? Alright, 3, 2... Okay, I think I missed. Okay, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. Thank you.
I love you.
Putting them in sexually charged situations and contexts and conversations isn't scary.
Joke that he is a pedophile. He would just say that point blank. He would joke that he's not a pedophile. He would make jokes about collecting child pornography.
Have nightmares? What are they about? Mine are always about somebody breaking into my house and taking my computer. But then it always scares me because I'm like, if somebody stole my computer, you know how much blackmail they would have on me? I mean, the fact that I haven't been on To Catch a Predator yet is like a miracle. Alright, now it's time to see some hot, sexy bitches wearing my Hot Topic shirts. Damn. Oh, if Justine wasn't watching, I would all of you.
On YouTube one day and I saw one of his videos. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm gonna fuck him. I'm gonna fuck her. Then I'm gonna fuck him. Then I'm gonna make him react to it.
All of this, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable behavior, but none of it necessarily involves children. They're just all things that a sick individual could say and it wouldn't really affect anybody. However, the way he used children in his videos should never be excused. And I honestly cannot sit here and let people normalize this and say that this was a normal thing that was happening. Just watch this.
It's you. Where'd you get your pants at? Look, it's like little Shanae. H&M? Girl, ooh, that sounds dirty. That sounds rough. H&M. Good job, Lucy. But next time, shake your titties more. And you, take off the jacket and show more.
And Lucy, I checked my statistics and I have a lot of child watching, so can you please eat a cocktail weenie? Do it slow. Oh.
Oh, I like that chocolate, that weenie.
Okay, give her a lap dance.
Oh my god.
Do it.
I blow everybody a kiss like you're a mermaid. That was the worst kiss I've ever seen. That was terrible. I would never have sex with you. Titties. Oh, man.
Man, 12-year. Oh, chocolate's getting in him. I didn't know 12-year-olds develop that fast. Wait, let chocolate lick your boobs. Look at. Wow.
On multiple occasions, he would have them simulate sexual actions, even going on to joke that it was for the benefit of the child that were watching him. There are just so many of these clips, and it's not okay.
We are here with a Latino version of the girl from Paramore.
How old is you anyway?
13.
You 13, okay.
I don't buy.
It's when they are on Instagram. And again, you know, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for parents' lack of concern or ability, you know, that this whole apathy around moderating your children's behavior and activity online. Absolutely. But two wrongs don't make a right. We should live in a society where children don't have to be watched. You understand what I'm saying? It should be so safe in our society. It should be such a non-issue in our society where children's safety should be an afterthought. It should just be an automatic thing. But it's not. We live in a society where people predate on kids. We live in a society where predators position themselves into positions where they can be nearer to kids, where they can have access to children, where they can talk to children and express themselves sexually to children. So this is something that Shane has done throughout the entirety of his career. This is not a new thing. This is not an old thing. This isn't something he's grown out of or grown past. This is an active, conspicuous problem. It's a pattern that has demonstrated itself over and over and over again. And now he is in a situation where he has 2 children in his own private care.
So then,
that's the plantation sound.
Yes,
I
it was.
saw it. Looked amazing.
And the 6-year-old girl goes, oh, how many followers do you have? I mean, first of all, it was almost like one of those contests where it's like, how big is your dick? And this kid slapped her huge dick on the table and was like, a 6-year-old who goes, oh, I have 125,000.
No.
Her dick was almost as big as mine.
Really?
And I said, okay, little big dick, why do you have so many followers? And she goes, oh, I'm a cheerleader. And I'm like, oh, really? And she shows me her Instagrams, which are like, first of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
I know, listen, we've talked about.
So there it is. There it is. There's the story from earlier right here. The 6-year-old, where he calls a 6-year-old sexy. That's literally proven right here. He of his own words, out of his own mouth, is talking about how he's attracted sexually to this 6-year-old because of her Instagram, because the way that she's presenting herself on her Instagram. So that's not normal. That's not a normal proclivity to have. It's not a normal joke to make. I get that we're online, and you know your boy's not about to do a whole free speech, you know, limits whatever rant or tirade. I don't really care, you know, when what you say or how you say it. My issue is that, you know, if you choose to present yourself a certain type of way, you know, you can't really get surprised when people judge you a certain type of way. If you put yourself out into the world as this like disgusting, vulgar pedophile, and then people start to judge you as a disgusting, vulgar pedophile, whose fault is that? I don't think it's the people making untoward judgments, and I definitely don't think it's like covert homophobia, like Matt wants to say. If anything, I think that Shane is an instance of someone using their homosexuality as a shield against criticism. Why is he putting his misbehavior under his sexuality? Why is that being lumped under that umbrella? Why is that falling under the protection of his homosexuality? I mean, why can't Matt let this be a separate issue? And I get, again, like I said, that there's plenty of people out there that are doing it. But my issue is why on earth is this allowed to happen with this person? This is the justification that Shane Dawson makes for it.
About pedophilia
This
before.
is Shane. Like, do not say this, and like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, you will get arrested. Like, he kind of can.
Listen,
he has his
allegedly-
justification for pedophilia, and it's so disturbing. And like, I just pretend that he doesn't.
Okay, wait,
and, like,
no, let me explain. Let me
no.
explain.
Oh God.
Here's my justification for pedophilia.
I can't.
Okay, first of all, let me just say, having sex with children or touching children or anything of that nature is terrible, and you should not do it. But here's my thing. People have foot fetishes. People have fetishes about, you know, everything. And there's websites on the internet where they can look at that weird, creepy shit and jerk off to it. Okay, fine. Everybody do your thing. So why is it when somebody looks at Google's like naked baby on Google and jerks off to it, they can get arrested? I don't understand that.
Because there's a naked because somebody took a picture of a naked baby.
But
and and then by the way, they're not Googling naked baby. They're Googling like, I'm not going to say what they're Googling. I mean, I watch a lot of Law and Order.
But here's the worst part of it. I actually went to Google and I'm like, I don't want to see.
You're going to get arrested.
I know, but I didn't want to see child. I just wanted to see like, okay, let me just pretend. Let me pretend like I'm a for a sec.
Okay, by the way, just for the record, police, I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know this. Like, you can literally get arrested for saying
I know.
this.
Listen, let me finish.
Sorry.
So I typed in naked baby. First of all, I don't understand why anybody would be turned on by that. But
that's the first good thing you said.
But they were sexy.
You're just
There he goes. So again, you know, he doesn't understand, yada yada. The joke is that he wouldn't understand why people are like that. The joke is that, you know, he's doing all this qualifying, you know, hiding in sight, you know, doing it right in front of you so flagrantly and so vulgarly that, like, you just accept it. You just laugh it off because you're uncomfortable. And normal people don't act like this, right? This isn't like, this is some, like, internet brain, like, completely, you know, totally scrambled way of thinking. And again, it's not about tone policing or his humor or anything like that. He's now, like I said, in control of 2 children where he is, like, by default, the governing authority. He is a parental guardian of 2 male children that he had custom ordered. That's the whole other side of this, right? He gets a Build-A-Baby, gets a surrogate here in the United States, goes through it so he can have the baby with the exact right features that he wants. And it you know, overlooking all of the children that need to be adopted. But my speculation on this is that there is less barriers to entry here. I think that when it came to the surrogacy, I think they only needed to find a surrogate that would agree, and that this surrogate would be the sort of like legal middleman here, where they find a woman who's willing to participate in the surrogacy. They get it set up in a state where it's legal, perfectly, you know, above board, all this stuff. They sign all the paperwork, they pay all the fees and all that, right? Money exchanges hand, papers are signed on the dotted line, babies are made. I think that the reason why they went this route is because it has less of a bureaucracy involved. I feel like there's less checks and balances. I feel like personally, maybe the adoption agencies might have investigated Shane a little bit more. I feel like for a child that is already born, that is already a legal citizen, that already has rights and is tied to the country in some sort of way, I feel like before they would allow the guardianship to transfer from the state to Shane and Ryland, that they would have done an extensive investigation. And I think they might have been declined just purely on the virtue of what we've seen here today. Not because of their homosexuality, because they live in a politically progressive area. And I doubt that they would have been denied for adoption because of that factor. I think that they would have been denied adoption because when someone types in, you know, what's wrong with Shane Dawson or something to that effect, he would come back with video on video on video of him kissing underage children on the mouth, being sexually inappropriate with underage children, talking to them in a way that is unbefitting for them, inappropriate for any sort of context, and is devoid of, any sort of legitimacy, because it's not, again, one-off stand-up jokes in a comedic setting in an 18-plus bar or something like that. He's making YouTube videos that are specifically geared towards a child audience, involving his child audience in that humor, in that behavior, by going on these chat rooms and talking to them privately. That's something that Shane has done not once but twice, but over and over again, and has continued to get away with. So, and we are transitioning into the surrogacy part of the video, guys. I will wrap up with some more stuff on Shane Dawson at the end, but for the most part, we are now going into the surrogacy part. And I wanted to show you guys this video from, I know it's a year old, but this is from when Dave Rubin started a family with a surrogate with his husband. Now, I want you guys to pay special attention to like the way that he presents this sort of scenario. This is like a weird sort of like cinematic universe that Dave Rubin has constructed in his head.
Yes, we are expanding the family, but I have a belief that when you do things, you don't just go, you go big. So 2 babies, people. 2 babies are on the way. Those are ultrasounds, what you're seeing over there. Yeah, so, okay, this is going to be very confusing to people, and I understand this, right? Like, okay, wait a minute, you're both dudes. You're showing me 2 ultrasounds. They don't look exactly the same. What's going on there? Are they twins? Are they something else? Can we pull those images up again? One of them seems lighter than the other. Is there a coloration problem? What's going on here? Is this racial? I get it. There's a lot of questions related to all of this. So let me just back up a little bit and tell you about our sort of fertility journey. So when you have 2.
Notice the framing that he puts here. This is our fertility journey. This is why it was so hard to make this video in the first place, because it's such a messy scenario. And that's why I debated how I was going to present this in this video. But after doing the research and stuff, I just ended up firmly opposed to this. And this is part of the reason why. Check out the way that he presents this sort of situation.
2 men or 2 women, you're missing a piece, right? You got the sperm or you got the egg, but you don't have a sperm and an egg, right? You don't have a womb. You got to figure out some things here. And, by the way, I know most of you guys that are watching this are now on the more conservative side of things, and I never see any real issue with conservatives anymore and gay people, and Trump was the first time president to run being, pro-gay marriage, and I think most people just kind of want to live and let live and all that. But I know this is like a little bit weird for some people to hear, right? I get it. And by the way, to me, at some level, this is a little bit weird. Like, I've had to learn a lot of stuff and go to a lot of doctors, and it's cost a lot of money, and it's been a long sort of adventure. But basically what you're seeing there, one more time with those ultrasounds, would you? Those are 2 different wombs, and those are 2 different babies. And I now know an awful lot about birth, and I know an awful lot about zygotes, and I know an awful lot about wombs and days when things start happening and heartbeat appointments and all kinds of stuff. So basically what we are doing is we got 1 egg donor. So you got to think about this. If you need to stop right now and grab a Sharpie and make a chart, you could. So basically we've got plenty of sperm around here. That's one thing, right? So there's a lot. I'm just saying, there's a lot of sperm. We didn't have a shortage of sperm. So we've got sperm. So we had half the battle, right? We had half of what we needed, but we needed an egg. So there are egg donors that are out there. These are young women who are willing to donate their eggs. Women obviously make a lot of eggs. Some make a lot of eggs, some don't make eggs, but the donors usually are young and healthy, and if they want to help people that otherwise can't have children, they can donate their eggs.
Again, it's more the framing, and he's tripping all over himself trying to discuss this because, he realizes how ridiculous some of this stuff sounds and how offensive it could possibly be to people. Now he's making jokes about, he's got all this sperm but no egg and stuff like that. I mean, so even he's aware of, like, the inherently biological components of this, which is what sucks so hard, because the inherently biological components of this conversation are going to run afoul of the inherently socio-political portions of this discussion. There's no way around it. There's no way to talk about this, like I said at the beginning, without offending someone somewhere. But the problem is that, even people who participate in this, even homosexual partners who are aware of the problems with having children, they acknowledge the biological reality that is at play here.
So we had our meeting with our doctor today to choose which of our 12 embryos will be implanted inside of our surrogate.
Okay.
From what we can see on our end, there isn't like testing for the embryos of saying like which one is the ultimate to put inside.
The ultimate?
I mean, so to my surprise,
It's not the Olympics.
The embryos are ranked inside of being usable. So there's like AA, AB, And so the guy, the doctor was going through and he was like, oh, it doesn't look like Ryan has any like females that are AA. And
this situation is arguably worse than Shane Dawson's situation because it's deeper into the eugenics rabbit hole. So this is a woman who had multiple eggs harvested from her. And then those eggs were separately fertilized. And there was multiple iterations of this. So some eggs weren't viable and were wasted. Some of the eggs were just gone. Some of the eggs didn't take. But for the ones that did, they were implanted into 2 separate women. So now there's 3 women involved in this one couple's reproductive story. This is the problem here. This is the ethical consideration. How many people have to be involved in a situation? Because, again, this man here and his partner needed 3 different women, many different eggs, an entire scientific hospital suite, and generations of fertility treatment technology advancements to make his family happen at the cost of a pretty penny. And the woman is receiving compensation for it. When it doesn't work out the way that they want it, what happens to those eggs? What happens to those babies? What happens to the ones that they don't choose? They don't get bought, they just get thrown out?
So you basically go on all of these websites. There are all these sites, and it's sort of like Tinder or whatever app you were dating on, where you're just kind of swiping through people and you say, oh, I like the way she looks, or I like this girl had a great education, or some combination thereof, or this one is actually geographically close. I like this person, but they're very far. And, you know, there are different rates and all of these things. And our feeling was,
okay, so it's like the way he's described it, it's like when you're finding a surrogate, it's like an app called, it's like Tinder. It's like a dating app where you go to hook up and stuff, but not really. It's just one where you go to, they have, what did he say? Different rates? Why? Why do they have different rates? These women who are selling their genetic material to these men at a price that is good for them. And what else is he judging them on? Because again, it's like this is the other side of this whole thing. It's like, at what point does the human connection come into this scenario? Because right now it's all hypodermic needles and sterilized lab coats.
that we wanted one egg donor, meaning you get a whole bunch of eggs. Well, hopefully you get a whole bunch of eggs from the egg donor. And then we would take several, we'd split the eggs. So let's say you got, I think the first time around we got like 18 eggs. And then you take the sperm, we would split them. So now there's like 9 and 9. I'm giving you the rough estimates here. And you would then inseminate them. And then you hopefully from that, some of it takes, some of it doesn't take. But then in essence, you have these embryos and then you need surrogates. So the surrogate obviously is the woman who then carries the child. So basically what?
The first time around, there was 18 eggs harvested from this one woman. And again, they did this on purpose. They did exactly what Shane and Ryland are doing. They got egg donors from a single woman. And he said the first time around. That just implies to me that there was a second time, minimum. Maybe a third time, who knows. But the second time minimum is absolutely guaranteed. When he said the first time around, they got 18 eggs. So that's 18 potential human lives. It's 18 potential babies. So they took those 18 potential lives and divvied them up between each other. So he has 9 potential babies. His husband has 9 potential babies. They inseminate those eggs artificially. They take the sperm donor and then they combine it with the egg and they get a zygote. Hopefully, because he said some of them would take, some of them didn't. And for the ones that didn't take, what happens? It's just like a miscarriage. It happens in a natural setting, and there's no shame in that. Sometimes, you can't plan for that kind of stuff.
We went into this thinking we were gonna do a girl of mine and a boy of Shane's, and when he was going through, he was like, well, the most optimal for pregnancy on both of your ends are boys. You have 2 AAs on each side. And Shane was like, well, wait, why don't we just do 2 boys then?
I'm having a fun attack, but yes, 2 boys. That is, well, here's the thing. We're manifesting, we believe in God, the universe. It's all gonna happen the way it's supposed to. If something happens, because there is a chance of both not, just like in a normal pregnancy.
2 could take, 1 could take.
Exactly. The surrogate was like, well, there's also the chance that they'll split and you'll have 4 babies. And I was like, ugh.
And I was like, splitting? An embryo splitting? And she goes, well, that's what identical twins are.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that that's how that happened.
So there's a chance of anything happening. We're gonna be so excited with any outcome that is a healthy child, whether that's 1 or, you know what I'm saying?
But these people are planning for this. These people have taken out so many eggs out of this woman. There's an entire generation of people. This is an entire family tree of potential people that was just harvested They took 18 eggs out of this woman, artificially inseminated them, and got 2 children out of them. I feel like this is an extreme loss of human life to justify him having 2 babies, custom babies specifically that he wants, because again, he was after boys. What happens to the sperm that inseminates and they become girls? Are they also in the trash with the ones that didn't work out? And this is why this is such an emotionally charged subject, because how do you get around this?
We've got cooking here is that we have one baby that is from my stuff and one baby that is from David's stuff, but they both will have the same biological mother, and we wanted them to have that sort of genetic connection. And right now there are 2 really fantastic women, and you know, it's not an easy thing to be a surrogate. This is not something people really do for money. They do it for a higher purpose, for sure. So we have 2 babies, again, one from each of us biologically.
Okay, again, the framing is they're not doing it for money. He paid the woman who is the egg donor. The egg donor was paid. He already established that. And they have different rates. So they set what they want. They want money. If they could do it for free, they would do it for free. But they're not. And go ahead, put in the comments. There's all these free programmed whatever. So, you know, I guarantee you somebody's footing the bill for something. The insurance is coming out of somewhere. The hospital pays, the food, something's being tied back to a monetary amount and it's being covered. It's not just a service. This is a product. This is the commodification of human life, guys. And it's an entirely separate discussion from all these other ones that people want to talk about. People want to talk about covert homophobia. Surrogacy is a bigger component here than people realize. This is not actually something that's super regulated, guys. Commercial surrogacy is not a highly regulated field.
Biologically, but they will be connected through the egg, the genetic material of the mother. One baby will be born in August, and one baby will be born in October. So they are not going to be twins in a technical sense, but they as a life going forward. I think they'll really be thought of as twins because 2 months means nothing, and they'll be in the same grade and all of that stuff.
But there won't be twins. They won't. And see, that's the other part of it. It's like, why are you doing this, divorcing reality, some stuff? Like, him having twins is more important than him having 2 children. Those babies are not just going to have the genetic material from the egg mother, the egg donor. They're going to have genetic material from the women that are carrying them, because genetic material is exchanged between the baby and the mother in the womb. It's called fetal microchimerism. So what these men have done is they have inextricably linked all of these people and then severed those links artificially. What does it matter that people are voluntarily agreeing to this or that they're receiving money for it? Does that make it better, or does that make it a worse situation to be in? But I'm past the point of where I can make justifications for it, because it sounds increasingly like a person buying another person for like aesthetic reasons. Human beings are buying human beings. That's where we're at. This isn't about gay. This isn't about straight. This isn't about, someone made some bad jokes in the past. This is actually about human beings being bought and sold on the open market and people making justifications for it. Like it isn't a humanitarian crisis.
And we started going through the process of how to do this, and I can assure you that it is not cheap. It is definitely easier if you got a man and a woman involved. I don't think we have to do 6th grade biology for you, but it's 100% easier if you can go that route. What was interesting also was that throughout.
So he says, no, they're not doing it for money. And then he immediately starts talking about how expensive it is and how it's so easy. It's so easy to just be, a biological pairing and just have a male and a female. I mean, it really is going to put a hurting on the bank. Let me tell you. But no, they're not doing it for money. They're doing it because they're humanitarian. They're doing it because they just want to see more babies in the world. It's an emotionally manipulative tripe. That's all it is.
The surrogacy process, it was during COVID. So the day we had to deposit the sperm, and you can all figure out what that is. You go to an office, very clinical office, and you go into a special room, They leave you in there for 10 minutes, you do your thing, and then they take that. Basically, they put it on ice, and then they figure out when they're going to, connect it with the egg, so to speak. Anyway, it was a few days after they had announced like COVID was going crazy and they were going to lock us down and everything else. And we lived in LA at the time. We lived in the Valley, and our fertility doctor was in Beverly Hills. So we had to go over the hill. And now you remember all that when lockdown was happening, and like the roads were like oddly empty, but then suddenly really packed, and everything just felt crazy, and it was a really windy day. And basically the doctor was like, look, they're telling us we're going to close down. We don't know when we're going to open up. We don't know if we're going to have nurses here. We don't know. You better get us that sperm ASAP. And we got in the car. We drove as fast as we could over the hill to Beverly Hills to donate the sperm. As we get out of the car, and I just thought this is like just such a moment I will always remember in my life. I write about this a little bit in Don't Burn This Country, actually. Like, I will always remember this. Like, as we're getting out of the car, lockdown, we think like World War III or World War Z is starting, like the zombie apocalypse is here. We've got to get the sperm to the doctor to save human society so people will procreate and we're going to be okay. We're getting out of the car, and then my phone rings, and it's Donald Trump Jr. And I'm like, man, the world's about to end. The president's son is calling me. And then I'm on the phone with Jr., and he's just asking me, like, what do I think about lockdowns or something like that. He was just checking in. I'm on the phone with Jr., walking in. It was very windy. There's no one on the streets. It's eerie. And then we get to the fertility clinic, and standing outside the door of the fertility clinic is Dennis Rodman. Of all people, Dennis Rodman. Yeah, Dennis Rodman, former NBA player, crazy hair, Dennis Rodman, like cross-dressing Dennis Rodman, who I loved growing up. And he's just outside the sperm clinic. What Dennis Rodman was doing outside a sperm clinic, I don't know. He had a skateboard with him. Anyway, we go up there, deposit the sperm, and then, then because of COVID and lockdowns and everything else, the process of surrogacy became very slow. One thing that you'll probably find very interesting, actually, is that the pool of surrogates. So there's not like zillions and zillions of surrogates out there, right? Because you really do, and I genuinely mean this. You have to be a very special person to want to carry someone else's child, right? Like you are the vessel to help create life, but at the end of the day, it's someone else's child. So there's not a ton of surrogates. And
yeah, but only in that context, right? Like only in a situation where you're actually selling your body to be used to breed a child that you will be then also selling. Like, see how weird it is? Like, Matt, take any of these elements and put it like in a slightly different situation. It's just like what? It's, again, any of these elements. Like, it's wrong to travel to another country to pay someone to have sex with them and get the end result of sex and purchase that, a human life. That's not weird. That's not odd. That's not something that, we should bat an eye at. That's something special and unique and something that really needs to be done because they're helping save society. He's like, this is me, zombie apocalypse mode, going to procreate to save the human race, says Dave Rubin. It's wild. It's just crazy. That's, again, the self-insert into the I'm saving the world kind of thing. I'm sorry that we had to watch so much of that. But it just highlights these elements that I thought were important because, again, this whole situation, it smacks of a lack of self-awareness. And, people on Twitter are seeing the same stuff with Rylan and Shane. Like, look at this picture of Rylan in the hospital bed. Shane is the one taking this photo. Shane was like, look, get in the bed and get this little photo. The baby's napping. Go over there and get a picture. Because that's what it's for. It's just weird. And it's indicative of this other trend. Like, people have, like, turned surrogacy and, like, baby making into a TikTok trend. Like, check this video out. Like, why couldn't this just be like between, again, I understand like the fertility argument side of it. I understand like the homosexual couple argument side of it. And I empathize with people, but it still doesn't excuse like the weird dynamic of it. It just doesn't make up for how strange all of this is. And, other people have had this argument before. Like, let's talk about this right quick. This conversation right here just outlines like how hard of a discussion this is to have. But again, I think some things are said here that need to be said, and there's some points here that need to be made.
what would you suggest someone in my situation do who wants biological children but doesn't want to be evil according to your standard here?
Don't pull any punches. Go hard. Make her cry.
Like, you know, infertility is a common human issue. You know, like, it is what it is. Like, you can't. This is what we want to plan for everything. We want to make sure that we can get everything that we want. Like, sometimes you don't always get what you want. You know, if you want biological children, there's ways that you can go about it, but then we have to go into the ethics of IVF. Like, I still think and maintain that surrogacy is evil. There are things that you can't plan for. You cannot plan for endocrine cancer that you survived, right? So it just is that you're not going to be able to biologically carry children. So how can we live and operate aside from that? We can go for adoption. That's one thing we can do. I think that, you know, if America
adoption
was sane,
is great, and that's definitely something that I do want to consider as well. But I can't deny that I want at least one biological child or more. And then I do plan on fostering and all of that as well. But are you saying, like, in your worldview, I'm just kind of out of luck on the, like, I got dealt a bad hand, sorry.
She's always going to be
cancer,
evil.
You had to go through treatment, but you're either evil or you don't get to have kids that are.
I mean, you know what? And kind of, I wouldn't even say the term like evil or stuff like that. Like, I think like surrogacy in and of itself is like wrong, and I disagree with it. But I wouldn't say the people that are doing it are explicitly evil. I would say that these people are misguided. I would say that, like, again, our ability to medically carry out this procedure, our ability to scientifically carry out this procedure is not like indicative of like a moral or ethical understanding of the consequences of it. You know, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do something. And I know it's a little bit cliche, but again, especially when we're talking about the procreation of human life, we should probably have some ethical considerations in place. And again, I wouldn't agree with calling these people evil, but I would agree that, like, yeah, sometimes you are dealt a bad hand. Things suck. Things are awful, and you know, sometimes it's like unequally distributed. Sometimes some things are disproportionately bad for some people. Sometimes things are disproportionately good for some others. Sometimes people that don't deserve it have an easy life, and sometimes people that deserve an easy life have a horrible, crappy, terrible life. So it's like, you know, it is the way of things, and we could do things to mitigate that. But going around and creating an entirely new life, circumventing all the children that are in play, because again, this is a personal issue. This woman has a medical issue that makes it to where she can't carry the baby, but she wants to have her own baby. So she wants to implant her embryo into another woman, put another woman through the emotional and physical toll of carrying a human being in your body for 9 months, only to take that away from her.
Are yours biologically?
Yeah, and that doesn't.
Would
have
it
to be
also
like
be evil if one of my sisters were my surrogate?
That I don't think so. I think the problem is like the changing of money in hands for labor. Like, that's odd.
I would pay them if my sister was my surrogate. I would still pay her.
Wait, just real
I
quick.
think
Then why
that's
are you
so
okay with
weird.
adoption? If that's your problem, why are you okay with adoption? You know that money changes hands in that situation too.
The kid's already born, though, right? It's a fundamental. You're not renting womb space.
Yeah, and this is usually like upper class women that are renting poorer women's wombs. Like, this is modern day slavery that somehow is, you know, allowed and continues the commodification of the female body. It doesn't mean that I don't have like empathy for women who are infertile, but, you know, why do we have to be like, oh, well, you can't have kids, so let's just rent somebody else to have kids for you? Like, sometimes you just take L's in life. I had a miscarriage. There wasn't anything that I could do about that. That is life, and that's okay.
We
can still
have
live
the
despite
medical
that.
abilities to intervene in things. I mean, you could use the same argument that I shouldn't have pursued any oncology treatment in that case. Like, it's kind of
That's
ridiculous
life. It's
to assume
cancer.
that just because I'm privileged and I have access to medical things that other people don't have access to, that I shouldn't take advantage of.
No, that's a bad argument as well, because again, when we're talking about surrogacy, this is not abortion. This is not an issue of a clump of cells that, you know, it's the health of the mother. It's not a good time. You know, this is a medical procedure that needs to be taken care of. This is a situation where all parties involved are voluntarily participating in a project to bring a whole nother human into existence. This is a situation where everyone agrees that the outcome is a person, that they want the baby. It's an elective procedure because everybody wants something to happen. It's voluntary. The baby doesn't happen unless all these people agree. But in a situation like cancer, you don't agree to have the cancer. The cancer comes out of nowhere. It's apart from your consent, and it is an actual health issue where it's not, again, not equivalent to abortion, because we're talking about a fully formed baby that everyone wanted to exist. Everyone in the situation involving a surrogacy wants the child to come to fruition. So again, this whole, bait and switch of, oh, it's the same thing when talking about cancer and I shouldn't have got cancer treatment. No, it's actually not. It's not the same thing as cancer treatment. But the last thing I'm going to finish it off with, guys, because I'm taxed emotionally with this subject, is I want to lead it off with this video and then read some facts off to you guys that I've gathered in some of my studies here. But this is a video from Harvard Online asking the simple question, should commercial surrogacy be legal?
In many countries, it is against the law to hire a woman to be a surrogate mother, to carry a pregnancy for pay. Some U.S. states permit the practice, but the total cost is around $100,000, more than many couples can afford. Seeking a more economical alternative, many couples from Western countries seeking surrogates now go to India, where paid pregnancy is legal and a source of employment for rural women. Indian women receive around $6,000 to $8,000 for carrying a pregnancy, about 1/3 of what surrogates in the U.S. are paid, but more than the Indian surrogate mothers would otherwise earn in a lifetime. Suppose it were up to you, as an Indian legislator, to decide whether to permit or to prohibit commercial surrogacy. How would you vote?
And again, Dave Rubin earlier is talking about how they don't do it for money. It's an altruistic endeavor or whatever. And this just proves it's not. It is about money for somebody somewhere along the line. The woman is receiving some sort of compensation on the back end. And in India, like it just said, that there was an entire business model. There was an entire baby factory setup where women are making careers out of being surrogate mothers, receiving more money than they would get in a lifetime. So again, if it's about self-sufficiency and making sure they have enough money to take care of the baby, that's one thing. But when you couch it in words like this is more money than they will make in their entire life, this brings to mind, thoughts about exploitation. Why are they traveling? They're outsourcing labor to less developed countries that are harder off. The situation in India has changed because of this. In 2022, commercial surrogacy was banned and heavy restrictions and regulations were placed on the practice. They put it into effect where the woman can only have one surrogate pregnancy her entire life. So there's no more repeated surrogate baby factory types of situations going on. The woman already has to be married and have children of her own. So she has to prove to capacity that she's capable of not only producing and providing for her children, but that they're going to have a good environment to grow up in as well. So there's heavy regulations now put in place that were only put in place in 2022 because of the sheer volume of people that were going over to India, traveling over to India so they could spend less money. It's just such a horrible situation. And that's my take. And, again, I'm sorry for such a heavy episode, guys. I know it's a long one and I know it's such a crazy subject to get into. I hope that it even gets to get out there. I don't really care, what sort of response I get, but I just hope that you guys see this and come away with it with some sort of new information. There were multiple cases of instances specifically with this international travel to India where problems arose during the surrogacy. Like there was the case of baby Manji, who his parents traveled from out of the country and artificially inseminated a woman. They had a divorce while the baby was developing in the womb, while the surrogacy was taking place. Then they had this whole big legal fallout of, what citizenship does the baby have? Who has custody rights of this? And it was a whole disgusting, horrible legal battle. There was a situation where a baby called John Bazal was fathered by a German national, but the problem is that Germany doesn't recognize surrogacy. So there was a whole international citizenship dispute on whether or not this baby was even a legitimate citizen of the country his father was from. And it's, it's a horrible, terrible nightmare. Again, I know it's an emotionally charged subject, and I hate that, it's the well has been poisoned by so many bad actors who just want to sneak their biases past the door. But it's like, I don't know how to have this discussion without at least upsetting somebody. But, I hope, to those of you who listened, I really appreciate you watching the video in its entirety. It was a difficult video to make, and honestly, I really don't want to touch it again, not with a 10-foot pole. I hope something gets done about Shane Dawson, because I think it's clear to everyone that the man is inappropriate around children. It's only a matter of time before this whole situation blows back up again. So, I hope people are watching. I hope people are paying attention to the things that are taking place online, because this is so much more of an ethical quagmire than I feel like anybody knows. And hopefully I was able to highlight that without letting my personal opinions get in the way too much. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys watched to the end, I really appreciate it. Until next time, I love you guys. Safe travels.